Good morning. Thank you all for being here today. Before we get started, I would like to acknowledge those who came before us. Please stand or remain standing if you are able. We at the University of Wisconsin-Green Bay acknowledge the First Nations people who are the original inhabitants of the region. The Ho-Chunk Nation and the Menominee Nation are the original first people of Wisconsin, and both nations have ancient and historical spiritual connections to the land that our institution now resides upon. Today, Wisconsin is home to 12 First Nations communities, including the Oneida Nation of Wisconsin, Forest County Potawatomi, Ojibwa Nation communities, Stockbridge-Munsee Band of Mohicans, and the Brothertown Indian Nation. We acknowledge the First Nations peoples of Wisconsin. Now, Interim President Thompson, Regents Miller, Tucker, and Weatherly, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, our campus and community are assembled for the installation of Chancellor Michael Alexander. Thank you to the Buffalo Creek Drum Group from the Oneida Nation. UW-Green Bay is honored for its special relationship with the Oneida Nation and for the Oneida Nation continuing to teach, guide, and partner with the university on a variety of issues. We are especially honored for this relationship to be codified in Wisconsin state statute, which directs the Board of Regents to, quote, ensure that the University of Wisconsin-Green Bay implements programming that is jointly developed by the University of Wisconsin-Green Bay and the Oneida tribe, unquote. Chairman Hill is in attendance today, along with 3 members of the business committee. Join me in recognizing them, please. At this time, will the ROTC color guard please come forward? Please remain standing if you are able, and welcome singer Asia Rogers as she first sings Lift Every Voice and Sing, followed by our national anthem.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing arise high as the listening skies. Let it resound high as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun as our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight as gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Present, honk. Order, honk. Left, face. Call left, mark. Rested, mark.
Please be seated. Greetings. Welcome to the Widener Center for the Performing Arts and the campus of the University of Wisconsin, Green Bay. My name is Steve Meyer. I'm the Secretary of the Faculty and Staff, a member of the university faculty, and the person designated to guide us through today's ceremony. I'd like to begin by publicly acknowledging some of those assisting with today's celebration. Members of the UW Green Bay and St. Norbert's College ROT Color Guard, members of the Buffalo Creek Drum Group, members of the Investiture Planning Committee and volunteers who made today happen, and student vocalist Asia Rogers, who is majoring in theater with an emphasis in musical theater. Please join me in thanking these central contributors to today's events. Before we continue to the next element of our program, I do want to make some additional acknowledgments of several individuals seated on the stage, members of our platform party who have ceremonial roles in today's celebration. I will ask them to stand and remain standing. Please hold your applause for now as we begin with some of those who govern our UW system. Regent John Miller. Although Regent Miller did his undergrad at Marquette, he does have a Juris Doctor from UW-Madison. He is the founder and principal at Ehrenberg Holdings. Regent Brianna Tucker, a student at UW-Stevens Point, a double major in political science and Spanish, minoring in criminal justice. Regent Tucker hopes to become a congresswoman after college, helping her county of Milwaukee. Regent Kyle Weatherly, a UW-Madison alumnus and currently CEO and co-founder of Front Desk and former president and co-owner of Solaris, a medical device company. Now, the gentleman at the end of the row to my right, on your left, Phil Clampett, Professor Phil Clampett, senior faculty member and university mace bearer. Phil has been a professor at UW Green Bay for 40 years in our communications department. Next to Dr. Clampett are two individuals who, more than anyone else today, know the tremendous opportunity that awaits Chancellor Alexander. Former chancellors of UW Green Bay, Dr. Bruce Shepard and Dr. Thomas Harden. To my left, your right, is our current interim president of UW System, Tommy Thompson, who will dress Mike in the medallion of the office. Stand if you like. You can stand. Next to Governor Thompson is our Council of Trustees Chair, Dr. Tina Sauerhammer, Dean, alumna of UW Green Bay. Next is Ani Maribel Sosa, System Vice President for Academic and Student Affairs. And Jasmine Brown. Jasmine is representing our Student Government Association as Vice President, and she is majoring in history with a double minor in Democracy and Justice Studies and Women and Gender Sexuality Studies. Okay. Representing our incredibly special colleagues, our local partners in higher education. You know what, I think I just skipped a page, sorry about that. So thank you so much. Your participation adds a wonderful presence in the ceremony and reminds us that UW Green Bay has a rich and quite remarkable record of achievement and a future of endless possibilities. Let us take a moment now to recognize several individuals in our audience today. Friends, guests, and distinguished colleagues. Again, please hold your applause until I've finished. I'll ask these individuals to stand and remain standing. We welcome delegates from various universities and colleges. They are listed on your program insert. But I'll take a moment now, Dr. Alexander, to acknowledge your fellow UW System chancellors representing campuses across the state. Dr. Dennis J. Shields, UW Platteville. Dr. Andrew Levitt, UW Oshkosh. Dr. Maria Gallo, UW River Falls. Dr. Catherine Frank, UW Stout. Dr. Tom Gibson, UW Stevens Point. Dr. Mark Money, UW Milwaukee. Dr. Deborah Ford, UW Parkside. Representing our incredibly special colleagues, our local partners in higher education, Barbara Lawton, representative from Lawrence University. Dr. Brian Beese, president of St. Norbert College. Dr. Michelle Majewski, president of Marion College. Dr. Jeff Raffin, president of Northeast Wisconsin Technical College. UW Green Bay believes that education is a lifelong pursuit. One of our most important relationships is with our K-12 school districts. If you are an educator or administrator in our K-12 system, please stand to be recognized. Our elected officials at the local, state, and federal level are essential to the trajectory of our university. If you are an elected official or are representing an elected official, please stand. To you all, our education and elected colleagues, for sharing this day with us, we thank you. A group of individuals who take a direct role in advocating for UW Green Bay and advancing our interests is the Chancellor's Council of Trustees and Foundation Board. Some are attending in person and some are attending virtually. I'll ask if they are present here today to please stand as a group to be recognized. Thank you, trustees, as always, for standing in support of UW Green Bay. Finally, I'll acknowledge one more very special guest. It is appropriate at UW Green Bay in this magnificent Widener Center that so reflects the vision of our founding chancellor, the late Edward Widener, that we acknowledge his wife, Marge Widener. So Marge, our visiting regents, chancellors, provosts, friends, thank you so much for joining us on this very special day. We gather for Investure because it is a ritual, and ritual is important in our lives. We gather because it symbolizes tradition. The tradition of higher education is a vibrant, independent institution where ideas and concepts flow freely and knowledge is created, where conventions of the day are formed, yet also challenged. Today, we will invoke the symbols of that centuries-old heritage. The regalia, the alma mater, the procession representing the various institutions, the mace and medallion, our Latin motto, ad sensiem renovendum, and if your Latin is a little tad rusty, like my pronunciation is, let me remind you that ad means in the service of, scientiam means knowledge and learning, and renovendum is a term that covers both renewal and innovation. So we are all about renewing learning and innovating knowledge. And finally, an inaugural address in which our newly installed chancellor delivers his vision for the university's future. So then we celebrate the past, but also the future. And we do so with pomp and pageantry, and also, we hope, a little fun. One of the most important aspects to our future is our students. Speaking on behalf of the student body today, we welcome Student Government Vice President Jasmine Brown.
Hello, my name is Jasmine Brown, and I represent the students of UW Green Bay. It is both an honor and privilege to be part of this ceremony today. As an elected officer of student government, I value the voice that students have in the future of this university. I have been impressed by Chancellor Alexander's great energy, his commitment to serving students, and his elevated expectations that everyone associated with this university will creatively dedicate themselves to making UW Green Bay an even greater institution for those who will follow. He welcomes student involvement and genuinely appreciates our input. We are overly excited about working with him to move this university forward. Chancellor Alexander, on behalf of the students, welcome, and thank you for agreeing to join Green Bay's University of Wisconsin. Now, I would like to introduce the newly named chair to the UW Green Bay Council of Trustees, alumna and accomplished surgeon, Dr. Tina Sauerhammer, Dean.
Thank you so much, Jasmine. What a true representative of the quality of students that we have here at the university. And thank you, Chancellor, for inviting me to speak on behalf of the Council of Trustees. It is an honor to be standing here today, in person, nonetheless, for the installation of Chancellor Michael Alexander. I have served on the University of Wisconsin Green Bay's Council of Trustees for nearly 6 years, and first came to know Michael as our new provost. We immediately connected over our musical backgrounds, his former career as an orchestra conductor, and the fact that the last time that I played my cello was on this very stage nearly 2 years ago for Doctors in Recital. Just a few short months later, Michael was auditioning for the position of chancellor. During the interview process, members of the Council of Trustees, including myself, were invited to have dinner with each of the candidates the evening prior to their interview. During dinner with Michael, someone asked him how conducting an orchestra compares to leading a university. I immediately assumed he was going to state the obvious, that in one instance you are orchestrating people playing instruments, thus making music, and in the other instance you are orchestrating people in divisions and departments of a university. But that was not at all how he answered. He said that when you conduct an orchestra, the audience sees the final performance on stage. What no one sees are the countless hours of preparation and hard work that goes on behind the scenes before you even get up on that podium to conduct an orchestra. Likewise, as chancellor, the public sees the face of the university, but the real hard work happens behind closed doors. To me, that speaks volumes about the commitment, dedication, and leadership we would expect with Michael being chancellor. Well, today we perform the first movement of a new symphony with Chancellor Michael Alexander conducting, and it's so fitting that we are doing so on this renowned Widener Center stage. As we celebrate the installation of a new chancellor, we also celebrate a new era for the University of Wisconsin Green Bay Council of Trustees. As chairwoman, I look forward to the bright future of the council with Cordero Barkley, Director of Finance at Titletown Tech and 2009 UWGB alumnus, serving as vice chair, and Chris Howell, CEO of Tweet Garrett, as secretary, two young and talented members of the Council of Trustees who have already made a huge impact in the university and our community. Since its inception in 1997, the Council of Trustees is just one of many advisory boards that exist across the university. We are a board composed of community leaders, business owners, advocates, and alumni who help to advise the chancellor, advancing the mission of the university. Our mission is fourfold: to collaborate with and advise the chancellor in the strategy, planning, and operations of the university, to actively support the work of advancing the mission of the university through special projects, to use our special networks and connections to give wise counsel to the chancellor, and to actively and effectively communicate institutional objectives, position, and goals to the community. What makes this type of structure so special is that it allows for the exchange of important communication between the community we are serving and local public university leadership. In addition to the council's continued work and advocacy over the last year, under the leadership of Chancellor Alexander and our former chair, Craig Dickman, the Council of Trustees has been working diligently with university leadership on three primary strategic opportunities: health and wellness, social justice, and economic resilience, all while evolving to the changing needs of our community. And that's why the University of Wisconsin-Green Bay was founded, to serve our community. I think about how this community has shaped me. My dad, born and raised in Green Bay, couldn't afford a college education, so he joined the military. He met my mom in Korea, brought her back to Green Bay, where she started a tailoring business, barely able to speak English. My dad worked at Fort James Paper Mill. Both he and my mom valued education and a strong work ethic, which they instilled in me. And what little my parents had, they put into my education and extracurricular activities, like piano and cello and dance and art lessons. My dad worked swing shift at the mill, and my mom didn't have a driver's license. I remember riding the Green Bay City bus so that I could go to orchestra rehearsals in grade school. I attended Green Bay Montessori Children's World, one of the longest standing Montessori schools in the country, and where both my daughters now attend. I was able to work at my own pace, and by the time I was finished with 8th grade, I completed my high school curriculum. My parents, with my teacher's guidance, gave me the option of either attending high school with my peers or applying to attend college full-time. As I knew then that I wanted to be a doctor and how long of a road it was ahead of me, I decided I wanted to pursue college. I applied to the University of Wisconsin-Green Bay, who took a huge risk on a 14-year-old. 4 years later, I graduated summa cum laude and stood before my graduating class, giving the commencement address. I attended the University of Wisconsin School of Medicine and Public Health for medical school. My dad passed away during my second year because he needed a kidney transplant. So I decided to take 1 year after I graduated to serve as Miss Wisconsin in order to promote organ and tissue donation. Now listen to this. It was during that year that I had the pleasure of working with President Tommy Thompson, who was Secretary of Health and Human Services at the time. He's always been an avid supporter of organ and tissue donation and helped our state pass the first bill of its kind giving a tax credit to living organ donors. Who would have thought that nearly 20 years later we would be sitting next to each other on this very stage? I completed 5 years of general surgery training at UW, followed by 2 years of plastic surgery training in Boston, where I had the amazing opportunity to be a part of the first full face transplant team in the country. I did my last year of specialty training in pediatric and craniofacial plastic surgery in Washington, D.C., where I started my first practice at Children's National Medical Center. One of the things that attracted me to the field of plastic surgery was the ability to provide cleft lip care to underserved populations. During my time in Washington, D.C., I had the opportunity to go on several surgical mission trips to Haiti, Togo in West Africa, and Jordan. But I came to realize that you don't have to travel to the other side of the world to make an impact. You can start locally, within your own community, and that is what brought me back home to my roots in Green Bay. Well, that and meeting my husband, but don't tell him I told you that. I am so lucky to have been raised in a community that gave me every opportunity to succeed. And that's what Green Bay represents to me. A dedicated, hardworking, family-oriented community that is committed to providing our young people with the education and resources to do great things. I remember growing up in Green Bay and looking up to the leaders and business people of our community, many who are members of the Council of Trustees. I grew up with their children, some who, just like me, left and came back to be close to family or for a career opportunity. And as my parents' generation became older, my mom would tell me that it was time for the children, my generation, to lead our community into the future. That seemed like such a long time ago, but the time has come. Now is our time to pave the way for our own children, as our parents have done for us. There is no question the critical role of the University of Wisconsin-Green Bay plays in the forging the way for attracting and retaining young talent in the area. And for the last year, Chancellor Michael Alexander has made the future of this university and its role in the growth of our community a priority, and I wholeheartedly know that he will continue to do so throughout his term of service. We, the Council of Trustees, congratulate you, Chancellor Alexander, on your installation, and we offer our full support and confidence as you continue to rise up and lift the university to new heights.
Thank you, Dr. Sauerhammer-Dean and Jasmine. We have arrived at the point in our program where we introduce our newish chancellor to a cherished UW-Green Bay tradition. The mace is an important artistic and ritual object of our university. At this time, I will ask Professor Phil Clampett to remove the university mace from its station. Professor Clampett is the bearer of the mace by virtue of his service as the longest tenured faculty member at UW-Green Bay. Chancellor Michael Alexander, would you join Professor Clampett at the mace stand as he carries the mace to the signing table? Also assisting with this portion of the ceremony are former chancellors Bruce Shepard and Tom Hardin. I will now direct Dr. Clampett, with Chancellor Shepard and Hardin's assistance, to remove from the handle a parchment document and to prepare it for signature. The parchment inside the mace carries a proclamation signed by each of UW Green Bay's first 6 chancellors. The document reaffirms their pledge to lead this university in accordance with our mission and calling. The scroll is held in place by polished rocks that are core samples from the bedrock located beneath campus and nearby Fox River. Dr. Alexander, with your esteemed predecessors and campus and community as witnesses, we welcome your signature, signifying your acceptance of the chancellorship and your commitment to the University of Wisconsin-Green Bay. The parchment states, the University of Wisconsin-Green Bay is dedicated to the idea of an educated person as one who is guided by the love of learning, committed to inquiry, creativity, and scholarship through interdisciplinary and disciplinary approaches to defining and solving problems, and who is an active citizen providing service to the community. I affirm my commitment to the University of Wisconsin-Green Bay idea of an educated person. Now, we are, after all, part of a state government, and we like to do things in triplicate. So would you please sign also on 2 additional copies, one that is permanently displayed, framed, on this campus, and another kept in our archives. Are we ready? Chancellor Alexander, I ask that you join Chancellors Shepard and Hardin for the reposting of the University Mace, our symbol of leadership and continuity. Chancellors Shepard and Hardin, can you join us over here for a photo opportunity? Mike, why don't you be in the center? Very good. Thank you. Please join me in a round of applause for this university's leadership, past and present, and those who affirm the charge for its future. Ladies and gentlemen, for the investiture and formal introduction of our new chancellor, it is my absolute pleasure to introduce one of our state's most prominent leaders, an individual who guides a great university system, our university system. Please welcome the interim president of the University of Wisconsin system, Governor Tommy Thompson.
Steve, thank you very much. Thank you so very much, Professor Meyer. Thank you for what you stand for and what you and the rest of the faculty give out so often to our students. It is a tremendous honor for me to be on the same program with a singer like Asa Rogers. You're outstanding. Jasmine Brown. Typical of a Green Bay student doing outstanding work. Congratulations. And of course, the indomitable Steve Meyer, who does such a great job in the classroom as well as conducting these investiture ceremonies. And what about the youngest graduate from the University of Wisconsin Green Bay, Tina Sauerhammer Dean? Not only being the youngest graduate from the UW Green Bay, she went on to become the youngest graduate at the University of Wisconsin Medical School. The talent that you have and the ability that you've exhibited is amazing. And I remember fondly when you worked with me on organ transplants. We made a good start, but we got a long ways to go yet, Tina, and thank you for your dedication in the medical field. It's also, I think, outstanding to have so many of the members of the Board of Trustees, the Board of Regents, Kyle Weatherby, John Miller, Brianna Tucker. I also send greetings from the two trustees and board members from Green Bay, and also from the president of the Board of Regents, Ed Menendez, and the vice president, Karen Walsh. And of course, the former chancellors, number 4 and number 5, Bruce and Tom, who helped build what I consider one of the real jewels in the university crown. And the outstanding chancellors who are here from the system, all of them. You're joining a group, Mike, that I think are the most dedicated group of educators and the best chancellors any place in the country. And I thank all of them for being here. I'm also very pleased that your parents, Mr. and Mrs. Alexander, came all the way out from Grand Island, accompanied by your lovely wife, Janet, who is also a musician. A great family, talented, dedicated, and passionate. It's an honor for me to be here, and I want to take this opportunity to thank all the educators, faculty, members from the technical college, the private colleges, and the tremendous faculty staff that we have on this great campus. And thank all of you for helping to make this historic day for the University of Wisconsin Green Bay as we formally recognize and celebrate a tall man, a good man, Dr. Michael Alexander, as this university's 7th chancellor. This truly is, ladies and gentlemen, a new chapter in the UW Green Bay story, and I'm just so delighted that so many of you showed up here, legislators and regents and university friends, whether in person or virtually, to be part of the story of the UW Green Bay. So I want to know, You know? How did a guy from Grand Island, New York, an island the size of Manhattan, not far from Niagara Falls, and where young Mike Alexander used to float in the Niagara River. And he said you had to get out of the river before you went over the falls. So no, he's a good swimmer. He's smart. How did you ever wind up in Wisconsin at the UW Milwaukee for your master's degree and then UW-Madison for your doctorate? How did a guy who served 11 years as music director of the Georgia Symphony Orchestra, a conductor at the School of Music at Kennesaw State University in Georgia, and then director of the School of Music at the University of Northern Colorado, how did you ever wind up as provost at the UW Green Bay? And how does a guy with that background, who's been on the job for less than a year, wind up as the unanimous choice for chancellor at this great university? The pessimist would say he had a tough time making up his mind. But me, being an optimist, believes it was an improbable journey. And I want you to look more closely. And ladies and gentlemen, it's almost a story of destiny. Every step of the way, from Grand Island to Milwaukee to Madison to Georgia to Colorado to Green Bay, has been recognized. Mike has been recognized for his leadership, his intellect, his ability, his vision. And at the heart of it, he's very shy, very humble man, self-deprecating, which I like, a servant leader in the finest sense of that term. And as Teddy Roosevelt will tell you in his great poem, he is the man in the arena, a citizen's citizen. And he is, ladies and gentlemen, just what we need. Not unlike the man, this investiture is somewhat unusual as well. When Mike took the helm 17 months ago, the pandemic was just coming onto our radar. And we postponed this formal ceremony. Normally, we would have had this event a year ago. And we would, at that time, been looking forward to all the good work this new chancellor would potentially do. In this case, however, Mike's already got a year under his belt. And instead, we can see by all the great things he's already accomplished, the proof of why he was the right man for this job, both for the university and the state of Wisconsin. So you see, now we're not just hoping he's the right leader for the times. We know. He's proven it. He is the right leader for the times. And why is that so important? Well, as you know, I've been around a long time. And I firmly believe, passionately and wholeheartedly, in spite of all the naysayers, that a college education, a college degree, has never been more important than right now. Both for the good of the individual, good for society, good for our communities, our great state, our country, and the world. For me, it was a UW education that took a poor kid from Elroy small community in western Wisconsin. So small you could call somebody, get a wrong number, and still talk for half an hour. To the governor's office and other positions that I could hardly ever even imagine while I was growing up. The UW has now become an integral part of the Thompson family story. Between myself, my children, we now have 10 UW degrees and more on the way with my grandchildren. I could not be more proud of everyone in this room, and especially of this great UW system. We have known for years that a college education leads to much higher earnings over a lifetime, and that a more educated workforce supports better standards of living. Studies consistently show that higher education is linked to increased civic engagement, from voting to volunteerism, and greater understanding of people from differing backgrounds and opinions. Those are the practical considerations. But I also believe it's much more so. I believe that there's a moral imperative that we need to extend this opportunity to more people, to spread the benefits. And how do we do that? We need to ensure that a good college education is affordable and accessible, and I believe much more student-centric. We also need to ensure that our young people truly understand the value and the worth of what a college experience offers them. We need to focus attention on recruiting more first-generation college students, more students for underrepresented minorities, more students whose families are less financially secure, and more non-traditional students. And you know something? I know that Chancellor Alexander has already championed UW Green Bay's efforts to expand access to college. That's the kind of guy, the leader, visionary. And it's absolutely the right thing to do. We need to do this for all of our sakes and to grow Wisconsin and make Wisconsin as good as it possibly can be. Here in Wisconsin, we're extremely fortunate. And I want everybody to remember this. We have a public university system that is second to none. It touches communities all across this great state. 13 universities on 26 campuses that offer top-notch opportunities for education, research, and service that makes us the envy of peers all around the country, and yes, even the world. We have a university system with outstanding and well-respected professors and academic staff who nurture and challenge our students to become better versions of themselves, who encourage and lead groundbreaking research efforts, creative, intellectual, or artistic endeavors, entrepreneurial opportunities. Just look around here on this great campus, UW Green Bay, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'd like to give a special shout out to the UW faculty who are here and others who support student success for their outstanding commitment over this past year. It was tough to this institution in the state. And under very trying circumstances, you quickly pivoted when necessary to provide remote learning opportunities for our students. And now you're back in the classrooms, and I thank each and every one of you for that, giving students the in-person education they want and deserve. I personally cannot thank you enough. And yes, I have your back. In our UW classrooms and laboratories, students hone their critical thinking and communication skills, their problem-solving ability, their ability to adapt, to change, and their comfort, and working alongside diverse groups of people. Employers, ladies and gentlemen, need people with these kinds of skills in order to grow our great state. We know this because they tell us so. And they want us to produce more. Not less, more. Many of our graduates on this great campus have job offers, often multiple offers, even before they collect their diplomas. Employers are standing in line to offer UW Green Bay graduates a job. Just ask the nursing department, the nursing school, or the water science and engineering students here at UW Green Bay. They are in demand. You better believe it. And over the last 10 years, your system has sent more than 36,000 graduates each and every year out into Wisconsin and the world to make a difference and to succeed. As Franklin Delano Roosevelt once said, we cannot build a future for our youth, but we can build our youth for the future. And that's exactly what each of you are doing. We are, ladies and gentlemen, at the system, an economic engine that keeps Wisconsin humming, powering Wisconsin businesses, not just for today, but for years in the future. Our UW universities all across this great state produce innovation, the new ideas that drive advances in technology and industry, producing solutions for our cultural and economic challenges, and offering the potential to improve our quality of life. Driven by our commitment to the Wisconsin idea, we are indeed here to serve. This is not aspirational talk. We are required by the law to take this role. It's right here in Chapter 36 of the Wisconsin statutes. And let me refresh your memories. The mission of the system is to develop human resources, to discover and disseminate knowledge, to extend knowledge and its application beyond the boundaries of its campuses, and to serve and to stimulate society by developing in students heightened intellectual, cultural, and humane sensitivities, scientific, professional, and technological expertise, and a sense of purpose. Inherent in this broad mission are methods of instruction, research, extended training, and public services designed to educate people and improve the human condition. Basic to every purpose of this system is the search for truth. That's hardly dry, boring legal jargon. I don't know who wrote it, but rather visionary prose that describes what we call this great University of Wisconsin system. And no better example of that prose than right here at the UW Green Bay. We need to make clear to all that the University of Wisconsin system should not be considered an expenditure, but rather a vitally important investment in our future. If we truly, which I want to, passionately, want to grow Wisconsin, There's no better place than to start then with the UW-Wisconsin system. The returns on the investment into our university are tremendous. It's just not measured in dollars, but it's a 24-to-1 return. But enricher, fuller lives for our people and our communities. And as I've said from the beginning of my time as president, we're done apologizing for the UW system. We are and should be bragging about this great system. Next to the people of this great state, the University of Wisconsin is its most valuable asset, and we need to celebrate and articulate that. We need people to truly understand that Wisconsin can only reach its potential with a robust and well-supported university system, not dissimilar to the Green Bay Packers. You got to aim for the top, and that's what we do. And it doesn't matter if you're up a couple touchdowns or down by 1 point with 37 seconds to play. We are always in it for the win. As we look ahead, I am convinced the UW system has a distinct and vital mission. Our universities can and must prepare people to make a good living and also prepare them well for life as contributing citizens in a globally involved democracy. We also stand by our commitment to serve our state and local communities by graduating more students into areas of high state needs, such as science, nursing, engineering, math, healthcare, and water research, all stables here at UW Green Bay. UW Green Bay is a key part of our story, not just for this region, where the impact is most immediately felt, but all across the state and beyond. The degree, the programs, and research being done at UW Green Bay are keenly aligned with demands of the region and the world. Your graduates are aggressively sought after for their experience, their intellect, and their competence. Your faculty and staff are widely respected and recognized for their excellence and expertise. I'd also like to thank the legislators who are here. Rob and Joel for their support of the Conference Library Project. It was a tough fight, and they helped lead the way, and I thank them. And it's going to be a great addition to our campus. A vital mainstay and support of the UW Green Bay community is going to offer benefits for years to come to our students and faculty and the people that come and visit. Look around at what this university offers. From its beautiful campus here and in Manitowoc, Marinette, and Sheboygan. Locations on Lake Michigan, a little bit bigger, Mike, than the Niagara River, that put this university in the heart of the Great Lakes, the world's freshwater jewel. If we think big and believe that UW Green Bay is and should be a leader in higher education, which I do, not just in this area, but across Wisconsin and beyond, then you have to have an outstanding leader to do it. We did a thorough search to find that outstanding leader. We found someone well-versed in bringing people together, a leader, a believer, a visionary, a musician, and yes, a conductor. And that is the person that all of us are here to honor today, Mike Alexander. Throughout this time of great uncertainty and enormous stress, and it's not over yet, Mike towers above us. He's been a calm, he's been that steady leader, the tall guy making the tough decisions to keep students first and his university community healthy and safe. I am enormously proud of what he is accomplishing here, and you should be as well. And I look forward to working with him going forward. As your chancellor, he needs your support. He needs your help. He's called upon to make tough decisions. And from what I've seen so far, I am convinced he's well prepared for any challenge that comes. Chancellor Alexander has already embraced his role as UW Green Bay's advocate-in-chief, an all-around champion, spreading the word about the great work being done here at your campuses in Green Bay, Manitowoc, Marinette, and Sheboygan. And since being named chancellor, he is focused on meaningful and action-based priorities to keep the university's mission and values vibrant and moving forward, even in the face of this insidious pandemic. He has worked towards strengthening UW Green Bay's connections to and with regional high school students, increasing non-credit offerings for the employees of Green Bay area businesses, and continuing to raise the trajectory of the university's impact and reach. These are all things that I, our Board of Regents, the UW system heartily support and commend. And when it comes to working with its communities as a partner, UW Green Bay is a true leader. What immediately springs to mind is how Mike and this university joined forces with Prevea Health over this past year, to offer COVID testing and vaccination clinics, and to make them available to the general public, not just the campus community. Talk about the Wisconsin idea in action. Just ask Dr. Ashok Rai, President, CEO of Prevea, and a member of the Board of Regents, about what a difference this university makes for healthcare. UW Green Bay is the university that gets it done. It understands that the boundaries of this university do stretch far beyond its campus perimeter. This university proves that the Wisconsin idea is not just some abstract concept, but it's a very real force for good, one that changes all of our lives for the better. Yes, we are here to serve. As Mike settles further into his position, our world seemingly holds plenty of uncertainties, but this is also a time of fantastic opportunity. UW Green Bay, drawing on its traditions of excellence and commitment to accessible education, community engagement, diversity, and inclusiveness, is well positioned to take up that gauntlet and lead, and to play a significant role in realizing such important goals. Under Mike's inspiring leadership, his wise counsel, and his great diligence and hard work, I am confident the University of Wisconsin-Green Bay, as well as all around this system, will continue to blaze the way to a brighter future for all of Wisconsinites. After all, drawing on his experience as a symphony conductor, Mike is certainly familiar with tapping people's different strengths and backgrounds and helping them come together to meet the shared goals. What glorious music comes from such collaborations, and it's just starting. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure now to call forward the man of the hour, the 7th Chancellor of the University of Wisconsin, Green Bay, Dr. Michael Alexander. Chancellor Alexander, it is my great privilege and responsibility as President of the University of Wisconsin System to bestow upon you this Chancellor's Medallion as a symbol of the office and to charge that it is to be worn with humility, esteem, and honor. Every time you put it on, may it remind you of the many ways that you, with your leadership, can channel your talents and your gifts to serve the students, the people of Wisconsin, and partners of this great university. May it also serve to help inspire you as you lead the University of Wisconsin-Green Bay during what promises to be a positive, productive, and exciting term as its chancellor. Number 7, Chancellor Alexander.
I'm not quite sure where to start. Thank you to President Thompson. As I was listening to him speak, I think I may have the hardest job in the UW system today, which is to follow perhaps the greatest public speaker in the history of this state with my investiture address. So it is an absolute honor to work for you and with you. The commitment that President Thompson has to education and to the UW system is inspiring to us all. I can't think of a person I can't imagine speaking for anybody else over the last year as he has guided us through. It's been quite a year plus in his time. So thank you, and thank you for all that you do for us. I never thought in all my time that I would be introduced by Governor Tommy Thompson, so it's pretty amazing. I'm humbled to join a group of incredible chancellors that have served before me. In 1971, we were on the cover of Newsweek magazine as the initial EcoU. Because of the work of the previous 6 chancellors at UW Green Bay, we are still positioned to do great things more than 50 years later. I want to thank Chancellor Shepard and Chancellor Hardin for being here today. It is amazing to know we have their support at UW Green Bay. I'm fortunate to be able to see the imprint on the institution that each of our chancellors has made. Our 6 strategic priorities honor something each of our previous chancellors believed in: student success, inclusivity, community engagement, sustainability in the environment, digital transformation, and the importance of the arts and a Division I athletic program for Northeastern Wisconsin. The world keeps evolving around us, and while we change rapidly with it, the core of who we are continues to be built on the principles the university was founded upon. I want to thank my current chancellor colleagues. I can't believe I get to work with such a talented and dedicated group of people that each work so hard for their campuses and for the state. Honestly, it would be incredibly intimidating to work with them if they weren't so nice and supportive. The fact that my colleagues were willing to come to Green Bay for this event is an amazing gesture and symbol of the collaborative way we work together. From the moment I arrived in Green Bay, it was clear that I was also really fortunate to have the benefit of working with our Council of Trustees. We're so lucky to have a group from the region that is so dedicated to the success of this university. They give tremendous advice and guidance to me, help us advocate, and I am incredibly thrilled that they are led by Dr. Tina Sauerhammer-Dean, who is an alum dedicated to our mission, as has been mentioned, an incredible surgeon, and most important to me, a really fine cellist. I benefit from having terrific colleagues on the university cabinet. They're all here for the right reasons and work so hard to support the students, faculty, and staff at UW Green Bay. We have fun together, share in each other's successes, and support each other when we are struggling. I am proud to work for them. I'm proud to work for the faculty and staff and students of this university. I have so many people I want to thank, but understand that it's not possible to thank everyone during this speech. It'd make for a really long speech. Please know that I'm grateful for everyone who is here today and listening. I know each of you took time out of your day to be here with us, and that means an awful lot. Let me start by saying that I'm honored and humbled every day to work for this university, this region, and this state. Obviously, this is quite a strange way to be installed, but given the last few years, it feels oddly appropriate. I was told by many people that I should talk about how I got here. Honestly, I really don't know, as President Thompson alluded to. I can tell you that I was shocked and maybe even a little terrified to show up as provost 2 years ago, and even more shocked and completely terrified to become chancellor a few months later. But I had a feeling that what UW Green Bay was trying to do aligned fully with how I viewed the world of higher education. It aligned with my ideals as a conductor. I was trying to create access to music to those that did not have it, create opportunity through education, and help the quality of life improve for the regions where I worked. When I was thinking about what to say today, I thought I would refer to a letter that I wrote to our region when I first became chancellor. Normally, I would have been installed about that time, and I wrote this letter as was my first chance to talk to the campus and community as a whole about how I saw the university. When I went back a few weeks ago to read the letter, I was struck that nearly a year and a half later, my thoughts have not really changed. I still love this place, believe in it and its people, and know we have the potential to impact northeastern Wisconsin in profound ways. However, as I wrote in the letter, we must do much more. UW Green Bay is essential to the future of northeastern Wisconsin. The problem we are trying to solve is that we need a healthy educational ecosystem for this region to thrive. UW Green Bay, for most of its history, has been the third smallest UW school in the third largest economic region of the state. That fact is not tenable for the future of northeastern Wisconsin and, frankly, the state as a whole. The educational attainment rates for our region are below the national and state averages. This is a dangerous statistic for any region that hopes to thrive in the future. As the region's comprehensive university, we are uniquely positioned to solve this problem, and 6 straight years of enrollment growth show that we are on our way. I want to clarify here that we are not competing with any other UW school, technical, or private college within our region or outside of it. We are competing with ourselves to increase the number of students in this region who go to college and who need access to a local university to further their education at any point in their life. The workforce shortage in our region is real, and UW Green Bay must be appropriately sized to help solve it. If we right-size the right way, our region, UW system, and all of its constituent universities, and the state of Wisconsin win. The key to the future is people. To quote Brown County Executive Troy Streckenbach, we need brain gain, not brain drain. People have to have a reason to come to our region and a reason to stay. We are part of that solution. Approximately 70% of our graduates never leave the region. As we approach 10,000 students, a thriving, connected, diverse UW Green Bay helps create a thriving, connected, diverse region and community culture. To fully accomplish our potential, we must become comfortable with being uncomfortable. We owe this to our students, who need us to evolve to meet the needs of the world they are entering. Prior to the pandemic, I believed an education helped a student contribute to making a positive difference in their region, country, and the world. Now, I believe education must also prepare students to generate constructive dialogue that will help heal and rebuild our communities. The question we need to ask ourselves is, what do students need to have an effective education? You no longer just need information. When we went to school, you had to go to a university to get information. It was often the place with the biggest library in town. Now, students simply pick up their phone and have access to a barrage of information. Now, students need to know how to discuss information and ideas, interpret the barrage of information constantly coming at them, and use what they learn to promote the common good of society. I believe this applies to any field of study, and in modern education, we must inspire rather just impart information. Luckily, we have the faculty to make that happen. As an Access institution, we have to be willing to meet students where they are at with their education, not where we wish they would be. We can complain about the preparation of students entering higher education, or we can improve it. How? One example is by partnering with our K-12 schools in programs like the Rising Phoenix, where disadvantaged high school students have an opportunity to earn their associate's degree with us at no charge, while they simultaneously earn their high school diploma. We have to measure the growth of every student we teach. Growth is how we must measure success. And we must understand that growth and learning can happen at any time in a person's life. It happens inside and outside of the classroom, and it often happens when we least expect it and from those that we least expect it from. We will teach students straight out of high school, but we will equally value a student at any time of their life with any educational background who wants to grow with us. We must lead with kindness and empathy. This leads to achievement for all. I don't think kindness, empathy, and achievement have to be mutually exclusive. With the right amount of support, empathy, and kindness, we believe every person can grow and achieve. As a society, we are better when we make this happen. We must stop spending all of our time worrying about the mode of delivery for our courses. For what feels like my entire career, we have been debating whether or not to teach in person or online. It has been presented as a binary choice when it does not have to be. The debate has gone on while more and more students need an education that can provide the benefits of both. We need instruction that honors the fact that a large portion of our students need flexible hours to learn. They lead complex lives. Many desire the in-person experience with the flexibility of an online course. Providing this education is our answer now, and it is also our answer in the future. The first step in providing access to education is ensuring that our classes are actually accessible given the realities of modern life. When I get asked if we should be in person or online, I simply answer, yes. We should be. Any educational modality is only effective if it combines good pedagogy with opportunity and access. What matters is the quality of an educational experience, not the mode in which it is delivered. For years, we have built an educational system that is convenient to us as a university. However, education should first and foremost be convenient to the students that we serve. An 18-year-old student straight out of high school in a residential dorm, a person working full-time, a person looking to change careers, a person looking to upskill, a person looking for enrichment. All of these people likely need education delivered in different ways. We are creating that environment at UW Green Bay. We must fully commit to solving the educational achievement gap, the disparity in educational opportunity between white and non-white students in our state, which is one of the worst, unfortunately, in the country. While it pains me to say that, we must face this reality head-on and finally dedicate ourselves to addressing it. And I know my colleagues and the chancellors are incredibly hard to make this happen. While it pains me to say that, our community cannot grow together unless we level the educational playing field. The inequities in our region are exacerbated by uneven access to education. This problem has been building since higher education started in this country. Achievement gaps in education lead to inequities in opportunities and further widen socioeconomic disparities in our region. Only our actions will determine whether we are truly committed to solving this injustice. This is urgent. Looking at the emerging and already present demographics of northeastern Wisconsin, if we do not diversify UW Green Bay at the same speed that our region is diversifying, we as a university will fail. I don't think I'm overstating that if we fail to support students that have not traditionally had access to higher education, our region will fail. As we dive deeper into a digital world, we need to make sure that everyone has the access and education to thrive in the jobs of the future. Without that access, the socioeconomic divide in our communities will get worse. We are now the fourth most diverse campus in the UW system. And appropriate to the demographic changes in our region, we will continue to evolve in a way that reflects the region we serve. I've thought a lot about why I'm standing here today. A lot of it is due to the support I've had throughout my life. My teachers, including those at UW-Milwaukee, Chancellor Mone, and UW-Madison, where I did my graduate work, went above and beyond to help me be prepared for my career. I went to good schools that, for the most part, were very well funded. Opportunities were plentiful for me to be curious, explore options, and get involved in co-curricular activities. I know this is not true for many of the students when they enter the University of Wisconsin-Green Bay. I'm going to try to stick to the script so I don't get emotional here. My parents, who are here today, have always given me unconditional love and support. They modeled and demanded that I act with integrity, that I work hard in school, and they allowed me to take risks and follow my passion as a musician. I can't ever remember a time that I was worried about being hungry, about being able to pay my rent, or about what would happen if I needed help. I knew my parents would be there, just like they're here today. I know that I have worked hard, but I also know that my route here was not as difficult as many of the students that we serve. I'm also lucky to have my two sons here today. Jacob and Eli have told me that they're happy to be here, so much so that they agreed to miss a few hours of school. Like any proud dad, I will tell you that I have two amazing kids. I love them more than I can express. I feel like every day I go to work and hope that the work we are doing is worthy of their future. They're truly caring young men, look out for others, and bring me tremendous joy. My boys give me hope. My boys and I are so fortunate to have my wife, Janet Hathaway, in our lives. We aspire every day to match her kindness, and I simply cannot imagine standing here without her. There is an odd human resources idiosyncrasy that we learned about when I became chancellor. The partner of the chancellor gets the ceremonial, unpaid title of Associate of the Chancellor. I see the chancellor's laughing. Janet has earned this title by serving as a contact tracer over the last year for UW Green Bay, volunteering in other parts of the university, and getting engaged with several initiatives in our community. The title of Associate of the Chancellor still seems odd to me. I would like to announce today that with President Thompson's permission, that I would like to change my title to Associate of the Associate of the Chancellor. That is how I feel every day, and I know how lucky I am to have someone who is my best friend and also my spouse. There's an old saying that I've always liked, often uttered by President Betty Siegel, who was president at Kennesaw State University when I started there. She said, "When you see a turtle on a fence post, you know it did not get there alone." Let that sink in for a minute. Every turtle needs help to get on top of the fence post. And all students need the opportunity to be lifted to heights they could not otherwise dream of on their own. The view from the fence post is worth all the energy it takes to get there. We must fully commit to teaching all who desire an education at any age and with any background. Universities have often boasted about the academic profile of their student body. This may sound extreme, but I do not care what the academic profile is of our incoming students. I only care if each student feels like their life has been enriched by an experience with us. It is not our place to choose who we teach. It is our mission to teach all who want to be taught. We must fight for the student who has had to struggle, who has potential that is yet to be realized, and who wants to make a difference in their community. Our region needed that student to have an education prior to the pandemic. Now it is essential that our university nurtures local students into the leaders of tomorrow. The idea of an educated person is not unique to us, but I'm exceptionally proud that we are willing to broaden who should be able to have access to this ideal. Our statement, read earlier, says nothing about what grades you got in high school. Higher education is saturated with countless institutions that want to teach the best students. This is important, but it is also important to give a great education to those that do not finish at the top of their class in high school. One of the things I am most proud of about this university is that we are recognized by the Center for First Generation of Student Success as the first university in Wisconsin to be a first-gen forward institution. 42% of our students are the first in their family to ever attend a university. We are about providing opportunity for those that have typically not been able to benefit from a UW system education. I benefited from that education and know what it did for me. It should be accessible to anyone who wants to benefit in the same way. We believe our mission to provide access to education is a noble and ethical goal, but it is also a necessary one. Please don't misunderstand me here. Being less selective does not mean that we give a lesser education. I tell our staff all the time that we are not trying to be a world-class university. Instead, we are trying to become world-class for what it means to be a regional access comprehensive university. That is such an important distinction, and it drives us daily in the work we do here. We must stop assuming that all students go to college to get a degree and do so between the ages of 18 to 22. Education should be a lifelong pursuit and one that may not always follow a straight line. As education continues to grow in cost, it is becoming a more and more attractive decision for students to stay local for large parts of their educational experience. We will welcome students at any point in their career to use education to improve their career or broaden their view of the world. This may sound a bit strange, but I believe we are headed to a place where degrees matter less than progress towards educational goals. People will come in and out of education throughout their life as it benefits their personal situation. We need to value our non-credit offerings the same way we do traditional classes. A badge or certificate can be as meaningful to the person getting it than a doctorate for another. We need to reframe how we discuss enrollment. I get asked all the time, what is our enrollment? In my opinion, President Thompson, you'll be shocked at this number, it is close to 100,000 if you include all of the people we provide non-credit offerings, badges, and certificates to. We need to be relevant to as many people as possible in northeastern Wisconsin. Expanding the view of who education at a university is for is a huge piece of making that happen. We must change the narrative around the cost of an education. Our tuition is under $8,000 per year for a Wisconsin resident. Regardless of the university students choose, it should be viewed as an investment they make in themselves. Student debt matters when it inhibits a person's ability to fulfill their potential. Worse yet is student debt without the completion of one's educational goals. We must support students to persist in their education. The narrative on the cost of education and rising debt was broken before the pandemic. We now have a chance to reset the educational value proposition in the coming year and beyond. Students are often making a choice between college or no college. If we do not like national online options, we must provide local options that are better, more accessible, and that help our region to prosper. We also must understand that $8,000 a year is a ton of money for most people. Even though a degree at UW Green Bay or within the UW system is among the best values you can find in higher education, it is still out of reach for many people. We must invest in students who desperately want to invest in themselves, but are limited by finances, support, or simply not knowing how to connect with us. Investing in them is investing in our region and our future. The returns on this investment are enormous. To live this ideal, we have even renamed our bursar, which no one knows what that means, to student billing, invest in your future. Bad educational debt results when you do not complete the credential you are trying to achieve while in school. We take that personally at UW Green Bay and are working to change how people view the educational value of higher education. Our community has rightly demanded that UW Green Bay grow to support the economy, culture, education, and health of our region. Now, and after the pandemic, we will need leaders to help us move forward. It is our job to prepare them. I ask our entire region to join us in the fight to create more equitable communities that are fully prepared to meet the challenges of the future. We cannot do this alone. We need the tech system. Thank you, President Raffin, for being here. It means a lot. The relationship we have had with NWTC is really special. And it is really great to see you here, and thank you for all that you do to work with UW Green Bay. We need the tech system, fellow UW schools, our K-12 partners, the business community, elected officials, and our alumni to join us. We are one university with 4 locations, and we need Sheboygan, Manitowoc, and Marinette to think regionally and fight with us. If we leverage the might of our 16-county footprint, we can achieve great things. If we think locally and provincially, we lose our strength. We are better, stronger, smarter, bolder when we work together. I will now talk about why I think we have not yet hit our full potential. Chancellor Widener, UW Green Bay's first chancellor, on a map that he designed, it's an amazing map when he was envisioning the university, believed this university should have 20,000 students. If you look at the average proportion of the population of each region in the state that attends their regional comprehensive university, it is 2%, almost across the board. Currently, UW Green Bay has just under 1% of our region attending this university. If we attracted 2% of the population of the 16 counties we serve, we would have 20,000 students. Chancellor Widener was a pretty visionary guy. Think of what that would mean for northeastern Wisconsin and this state. I am unable to predict exactly what will happen with education in the coming months and years. However, I know we are resilient. As the Phoenix, we are up for the challenge that lies ahead. This is how I viewed the world and higher education's place in it 16 months ago. Today, I view it the same, but with even greater urgency and stronger hope. If we fail, we should fail spectacularly. and for the right reasons. We must have courage and be willing to think differently, take risks, sacrifice some of our own personal goals for the greater good, and we must put students and the betterment of our region always at the forefront of our decisions. We believe in the potential of this region and the people who call it home. We will invest in those who are investing in themselves and in their futures, our future, and lead during a time when the ground is not always solid beneath our feet. I will say one more time, I'm unbelievably honored to work for the students, faculty, and staff of this university and the people of Northeastern Wisconsin. With all of us working as one, we will undoubtedly rise into the unknown together. Thank you for being here today, and go Phoenix.
Thank you, Chancellor Alexander, for those words of your vision. Gives us something to strive for. To close our program, I ask that you rise. Asia Rogers will be singing the Green Bay alma mater in just a moment. But before she does, we ask that the audience remain seated after the singing of the alma mater until the recessional party has left the auditorium. Okay? Then, at that time, please join us outside the Widener Center, past the Chihuly glass chandelier, for an informal reception. There are going to be multiple tables with food and drink on it. We would love for you to come and celebrate with us. And thank you all once again for attending and participating in today's ceremony. So at this time, would everybody rise? And Ms. Rogers, will you lead us in the alma mater?
Let us rise above these waters, men and women of Green Bay. Rise in knowledge, rise in wisdom, rise in friendship sealed today. As the phoenix rose from flame, let us rise.